Well, we were just sitting there with our signs that said, like, we love Sophie, like, thank you, Sophie, for speaking up. And so we were holding on, just watching the game. Again, like, we were being super great. We hadn't said anything to anyone else. We were being super respectful. We were just holding our signs and cheering for both teams. And this lady, older lady, comes up to us. And she comes up to us. And at first, I think she's going to be nice. And she asks, like, what are you guys doing? Something like that. And then it was like, Jesus loves everyone. That's what she told us.
Here we observe the majestic suburban dad in his natural habitat, the backyard barbecue. Notice the distinct aroma of charcoal and mild panic. He approaches the girl with confidence, though his internal monologue suggests he has no idea what he's doing. Oh, grease flare. The suburban dad stumbles backward, nearly toppling into the kiddie pool. A narrow escape.
This Seattle Storm situation is going very south fast. Now we have other big-time business people being accused and caught on film harassing Indiana Fever fans, and these young ladies held a rally for anti-trans. Now during this rally, nothing happened. It was calm. But the Seattle Storm co-owner, who has now been suspended, by the way, we're going to talk about that, made it her business to make sure these young ladies have a very, very tough night that night. And that's exactly what she did. Now, I said this once and I'll say it again. If I'm these young ladies' parents, I'm quickly, in a hurry, talking to legal. We have to sue not only the Seattle Storm, but you have to sue the WNBA for harassment.
Caitlin Clark's team has found itself at the center of a growing public relations storm, with the WNBA facing mounting pressure as fan reactions continue to spread across social media and beyond.
Always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, like, taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
Okay, great opportunity for the WNBA, right? Because it's like an 80-20 issue. Most Americans don't believe that boys should play against the girls. And you're talking about a women's sport league. That's what you're talking about. Women's basketball. If you let the biological men play, you end up with the movie Juwanna Mann, or alternatively, Lady Ballers. A 14-year-old high school freshman boys starting varsity player at any decent public school in America would torch these ladies. That is just a reality. Okay, that is not sexist. That is called reality. 14-year-old boys all over America are dunking. Okay, the WNBA with biological men would just be called the NBA, and the ladies would be called ushers, or at best refs.
When the Indiana Fever arrived in Seattle for their July 28 matchup, the atmosphere was already filled with anticipation and strong emotions.
One of the co-owners of the team came over and blessed them out and used the F word. And so she was suspended. What was your reaction to this?
Well, it's important to know who these girls are and, of course, the setting of where this game took place. It happened in Seattle, the state of Washington. These girls are 16-year-old girls. They're in high school. One of the girls, her name is Annalie Wilson. She's a 16-year-old runner from Washington State who has taken a stand. Why has she taken a stand? Because she has had to live these policies. Actually, Annalie, she placed second at, I believe it was the Kashmir Junior Olympics regional track meet in the 1600. She lost to a boy. Since then, she's had to find herself standing up before school boards to her peers and to classmates and to teachers and to adults. What she told me was that Sophie's courage has inspired a generation of young athletes. She says that it is such a relief now to know that someone, especially when it comes from a professional female athlete, has their back. Mm-hmm. And now here she is, as you said, supporting Sophie, and she's being heckled by grown men and grown women, which now to the left, that's considered progressive. It's just sad that young girls, 16-year-old girls, have to be the adults in the room.
Yeah. The young lady, one of the girls that you're talking about, the athlete, she was wearing an XXXY t-shirt. And that's the apparel company that was created by Jennifer Say, who is the gymnast, the former gymnast. And their mission is really just to focus on protecting women's sports. Here's Jennifer reacting to it. Listen to this.
I'm so proud of those two young girls. They're so grateful to have Sophie so loudly and full-throatedly in our court. These young girls have been going it alone, and to have a star from the WNBA stand up and say, yeah, girls deserve their own sports is such a huge win and a vote of confidence for these girls, and they feel like they're no longer alone.
She started that company. You're wearing one of those T-shirts, too, just to protect women. And it goes back to what Sophie said. She said, there's a safe space and love for everybody. Everybody's welcome at my table. Sophie, the basketball player, says this. But she said, I want to support women.
As more details about the incident spread online, the story quickly gained national attention and intensified the conversation surrounding the game. Reports circulating across multiple outlets identified the woman involved as Seattle Storm minority owner Celeste Keaton, turning what first appeared to be a disagreement between spectators into a controversy involving a team executive. The allegations immediately sparked widespread debate, with many questioning whether someone in a leadership position should engage directly with young fans during a live event. According to those reports, the teenage fans also faced loud criticism from nearby spectators, while claims surfaced on social media that individuals connected to the home team reacted negatively from the court. Whether every detail was accurate or not, the controversy rapidly became one of the league's biggest talking points. At a time when the WNBA was experiencing record attention and expanding its audience, the situation created a significant public relations challenge, increasing pressure on league officials to respond quickly. As criticism continued to grow, expectations for decisive action intensified, with many believing the league needed to address the controversy swiftly to protect its credibility and keep the focus on basketball rather than the off-court headlines.
Walking up to two 16-year-old girls holding a thank you, Sophie, for speaking up for girls sign and calling them effing insane. One was in tears by halftime. The girls were backing FIBA guard Sophie Cunningham, who said she wants biologically men kept out of women's sports. The Storm apologized once in with public. Cunningham is not sending the two girls gifts. She called Keaton's meltdown truly embarrassing. So Sophie Cunningham is sending the two girls some gifts, man. So I'm guessing Sophie talked about this. I wonder how they find out Sophie sending them girls something. So the owner has been suspended for 5 games. I just feel like 5 games is just not enough. It's just not enough, bro. She should be banned. These was kids. This is like a hate crime in a sense. She verbally abused someone else's children. This is very bad, guys. Like 5 games is not enough. Then y'all didn't release the type of fine. This is why we cannot take this league serious, because they do things like this that make us not want to watch it, bro. Not want to watch it at all. Now, Tuesday fever game, one of the 16-year-old girls stayed up the night before making the sign, then spent halftime crying courtside. A couple of Storm players gave the girls a thumbs down to their face. A man told them to take out the trash on their way out. The team's apology: everyone who attends a Storm game deserves to feel welcome. Now, Sophie Cunningham, like I stated, did state, well, this has been reported that she's going to send them something. But there is video that has been released of a fan telling these young ladies they are trash. This is a bad look. And this ain't just no rinky-dink person. This is a corporate guy connected to Nordstrom's. Last watch.
On Thursday, the league officially announced disciplinary action, confirming that Celeste Keaton had received a substantial fine along with a 5-game suspension from attending Seattle Storm home games. The decision immediately drew widespread attention, as it is highly unusual for a league to bar a team owner from home games, underscoring the seriousness with which officials viewed the situation. The announcement placed the Seattle Storm organization under intense scrutiny, prompting majority owner Jenny Gilder to release a public statement acknowledging the incident and apologizing to those affected. She emphasized that every fan should feel respected and welcome at Storm games, while reaffirming the organization's commitment to creating a positive environment. At the same time, the Indiana Fever worked to keep their focus on basketball and avoid becoming further involved in the controversy. Following their 105-95 victory, team officials and head coach Stephanie White declined to comment on demonstrations connected to Sophie Cunningham, while a team representative stated the organization had no prior knowledge of the rally, making it clear that their priority remained the performance on the court rather than the growing off-court debate.
People who are coming out with the positive, saying, you know what, finally someone has said something, and I don't really look at either side of those, because I know whatever I say, I'm going to get hate and I'm going to get love, and if I'm going to live by the love, I'm going to die by the hate, and that's just not who I am. I beat to my own drum, and so people are always going to have something to say. You could win the championship, you could be the best at whatever it is, and there's still people who are going to hate on you, and so that's just what this world is. So I'm confident in who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I'm happy being me. I'm going to continue to be that.
You always had kind of that mentality when it comes to, people saying things, or is that something you've built and learned to adapt over time?
I think I've always kind of been able to, handle that type of pressure, I would say, and the type of eyes and the type of people who have comments. And like I said, there's going to be some negative comments, but there's also a whole bunch of positive comments too that no one really ever, people hate positivity for some reason. I have no idea why, but there's a lot of positive comments too when it comes to that. And so, it is what it is. Like I said, we're all human. We're no one's perfect here. And so I really don't care what other people have to say. I know who I am. My people know who I am. And hopefully I'm doing them proud and making room for young boys and girls in our world to have a better future than we did. I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
Do you think, I guess along the line like that, it goes against perhaps, some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us. Like, how do you, view that sort of critique?
Like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone. Like, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. And I truly think when you get people in the same room, you have conversations, you actually have a lot in common with a lot of people. And so I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women, and I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that, but I have never once said I hated the trans community.
What has unfolded over the past several days is unlike anything the WNBA has experienced in recent years. A debate that began with public comments on a controversial issue evolved into a widely discussed courtside incident, followed by disciplinary action against a team owner and intense scrutiny of the league's response. The story has sparked passionate reactions from fans across the country, with many calling for accountability while others continue debating whether the punishment was appropriate. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Do you think a 5-game suspension is a fair consequence for the alleged conduct, or should the league have taken stronger action? And what are your thoughts on Sophie Cunningham's decision to publicly express her views on such a divisive topic? Share your perspective in the comments below and keep the conversation respectful. If you enjoy in-depth WNBA coverage, breaking news, and detailed analysis of the biggest stories shaping the league, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates as this story continues to develop. His mate watches from the kitchen window, debating whether to intervene. Excuse me. She wisely chooses to let natural selection run its course. The burgers appear to be transitioning from raw to charcoal, skipping the cooked phase entirely. Shh. Listen. That sizzling sound is the call of dinner being ruined. But wait. The suburban dad has produced his secret weapon, barbecue sauce. He believes this will mask his culinary failures. Spoiler alert, it will not. Now he's being approached by his offspring, demanding to know when the food will be ready. A dangerous moment. The suburban dad responds with the ancient phrase passed down through generations. 5 more minutes. We all know this is a lie. And so the cycle continues as it has for millennia, in backyards across the land. Truly, nature is magnificent. Stay with us through this entire video because we're breaking down every major development surrounding one of the league's most talked about executive controversies in recent years. Let's get right into it. To understand how this situation escalated, we have to start with Sophie Cunningham, whose recent public comments became the spark that intensified an already heated debate. Her remarks, combined with the broader political and cultural conversation surrounding women's sports, quickly transformed the story into one of the most closely watched topics in professional basketball. During the widely discussed ESPN feature last week, Cunningham clearly shared her position, expressing support for policies that would limit transgender girls and women from competing in female sports. She explained that her views were centered on fairness and protecting competitive opportunities for girls and women. As soon as those comments became public, online discussion exploded. Supporters praised her for speaking openly, while critics strongly disagreed, turning the issue into a highly divisive debate that dominated headlines, fueled non-stop conversation across social media, and drew passionate reactions from fans on every side of the discussion. Before tip-off, a large demonstration formed outside Climate Pledge Arena, where supporters of Sophie Cunningham gathered with signs and messages backing her recent public comments, while also promoting a local ballot initiative connected to the broader debate. The intensity carried into the arena as some attendees brought their signs to their seats, setting the stage for an already tense evening. It didn't take long for attention to shift away from the action on the court. According to multiple reports, a heated courtside confrontation unfolded involving two teenage fans who were holding signs that read, "Thank you, Sophie, for speaking up for girls." Rather than remaining a disagreement among spectators, independent reports claimed that a prominent individual approached the girls and allegedly directed harsh and emotional remarks toward them, including profanity and a statement expressing hope that they would be forgiven for what she described as their actions. The alleged exchange quickly became the center of online discussion, fueling widespread debate and placing even greater scrutiny on everyone connected to the incident.